If you're looking for a fun way to propagate some plants, I've got some great ideas for you. The first thing I'm going to do is grab a tension rod from your local big box store, and then I've got these great little S hooks. And so you're going to create a loop at the top of your string, feed the hook through, hang it on your valance, fill the little test tubes with water, and add whatever type of plant you want to propagate, be it a house plant like pothos, or in this case, I'm going to do some sage, a wreath form from the Dollar Tree. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take a little test tube and I'm going to glue it to this wreath form. It's the perfect size to fit. I'm going to go ahead and snip off this pothos plant, the part that I'm going to want to propagate. And I'm going to hang my wreath form on the door using a ribbon. And then I'm going to fill that little tube up with water, and then I'm going to feed the top of my pothos trimming in there. I'm going to strip off the closest leaf just so it's not submerged in water. But then I'm going to continue to wrap the pothos around. It's going to be great. The first thing I'm going to do is grab a candy dish. I got this one at Goodwill. I have these water beads, and I'm going to put them in that candy dish. And I'm going to pour some water on top of them and let them soak it up. It's going to take a good 20 minutes or so. Then I'm going to come back to my candy dish, and those water beads have soaked up a lot of that liquid, and I'm going to add some more trimmings to that. It's a great way to propagate. And you'll just want to check on them, make sure they've got plenty of water, because they will dry out and you'll just have to add more water to it. So I hope that you find these ideas for how to propagate at home super helpful, and it saves so much money on plants.
The next time you're at the thrift store, don't pass by the vase aisle with grabbing some of the globe-shaped vases. I'm going to make sure I give them a good clean and a nice scrub, getting rid of all the dust and residue and the price tags. Once the vases were dry and clean, I came in with this Americana Enchanted paint. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint all the glass vases that I bought with just a nice light coat, trying to make sure I don't get a lot of streaks there. Once my vases were dry, I came in with the terracotta pots that I bought. Now you do want to make sure that you buy pots that have holes in the bottom. That's very important. And I just sized up my vases here. And then I'm going to come in with some heavy strength Gorilla Glue here and apply it to the bottom of the terracotta pot. And then I'm going to put my globe on top of that. I'm going to repeat the same step for all the other globes. Good sufficient 6 hours at least for these to dry. Then I picked up these fairy solar lights off of Amazon, and this is why you want the hole in the bottom of the terracotta pot, because I'm going to be threading the fairy lights through this hole up into the globe. And I do it this way so that if there's a malfunction with the fairy lights, I can change them out, or they're not stuck in there. I haven't glued them in to the globe onto the pot. So I took it out to my garden here, and I put the solar lights in a position where they would catch the sun nice so they could charge up. And then this is the finished project here in my garden. So I did 3 staggering different heights just to give some dimension. I really hope that you enjoyed this project. I hope that you will get creative with it and put your own spin on it, and tailor it to suit your tastes and your designs.
Head to Dollar Tree and pick up 3 glass carafes. Take twine and wrap, tie, and secure around the glass, and clip parts of the plant off. Add water to the glass bottles, and then add clippings to the water. Hang a curtain rod and add more twine or rope from the rod.
I have a blank wall in my garden that needed some attention. I went to the store and grabbed some hula hoops along with black matte spray paint. Once I got home, I laid out the hoops and painted each one with the paint. I sprayed each hoop with several thin layers of paint. I allowed each layer to dry completely before turning the hoops over to spray the other side. I love the matte black because it gives them the look of wrought iron. Now to assemble the trellis. I took the hoops out to my garden and decided to attach them to my house using small poultry staples, which I hammered into the area between my wood siding. I then slipped a piece of pipe cleaner through the hole and attached the hoop, twisting the ends together. I designed my layout to fit the space by holding up each hoop and deciding where to attach it. Once the hoops were attached to the siding, I used black electrical tape to join the hoops together where they crossed over each other. Now to attach the plant. I chose a climbing rose named Lady Beard, which will continue to send out long stems, and in the spring, small white bunches of fragrant roses will fill the stems. To attach the plant, I carefully moved each stem, bundling some together and following the curve of the hoop. I love the look of my new trellis, and it was so easy to make. It's lightweight, it's sturdy enough to hold the plant. And as the plant grows, I can simply add additional hoops.
Have you ever wanted to be more self-sufficient, but also stay on budget? Well, go ahead and head out to your local Walmart and grab one of these plastic drawer sets. Then get yourself some good quality seed starting mix and go ahead and moisten it up. A lot of the times when it comes out of the bag, it's super dry and you can't really do anything with that. Once you got your seed starting mix moistened, and you're going to want to grab a dry erase marker and label the 3 drawers on the bin that you bought. Once you've done that, set out some seed starting pots. These can be things that you've bought, or you can make them out of toilet paper tubes or newspaper. It doesn't have to be fancy. And go ahead and fill them about 3/4 of the way up with some of that moist potting soil or seed starting mix. You're going to take some seeds of your choosing, and you are going to place a seed or 2 in each of the pots. Now, and then take a few popsicle sticks and label them with what the seeds are. Next, you're going to take these full seed starting cups and you're going to place them inside those drawers. This is so perfect. The drawers are plastic, so you'll be able to water them right in the drawer and place them in a sunny spot, or at least a place that gets partial sun. And before you know it, just wait and see, you'll come outside and you'll find that you have some seeds that are sprouting and plants that are growing. It really is kind of like magic.
I grabbed a free palette for this genius garden hack. I used a hammer to remove some of the boards carefully. I left the nails in the boards so that I could use them again. I made 3 rows with 3 boards tight together on the bottom row, 2 boards together in the middle, and 2 boards near the top. The palette was taller than I wanted, so I used a reciprocating saw to cut the extra off. I flipped the palette over and followed the same pattern with 3 boards together on the bottom, 2 in the middle, and 2 at the top. I used all the leftover boards from this palette, plus a couple extra scrap 1x4s. I cut more 1x4s to fill in the bottom of each section and secured it with 3 nails on the front, and then I flipped it over and I hammered in 3 nails on the back side. I gave the front a quick sand with 120 grit sandpaper using my palm sander. Next, I filled each section with soil and planted my favorite herbs. I used my Cricut to print stencils to paint labels for each section. When applying the stencil, I first sealed it with Mod Podge, and then I let it dry before painting with acrylic paint. Once the paint was near dry, I removed the vinyl and did some touch-ups with my black acrylic paint pen. And now I have the most beautiful herb garden that can also be hung on the wall. I hope this inspired you to create your own palette herb garden. Thanks for watching Home Talk, and see you next time.